Hello students, welcome back to a new video of Sunanda's tutorial. In this video we will discuss about motor proteins. These are some associated motor proteins. Associated means they are associated with cytoskeletons. They are associated with microfilament, microtubule and intermediate filament. They work togetherly. So, cytoskeleton is a network of different protein fibers that provides many functions, like it maintains the changes in the shape of the cell, it secures some organelles in specific position, it enables the movement of cytoplasm and vesicles within the cell. It enables the cell to move in response to various stimuli or external stimuli. There are three types of fibers or cytoskeletal fibers, like microfilament, second one is microtubules, then intermediate filament. So, some of the cytoskeletal fibers work in conjunction with molecular motors. They require molecular motors to work, which move along the fibers within the cell to carry out a diverse of functions. That means these cytoskeletons or cytoskeletal fibers require motor proteins to work along them to do a particular function. Okay. There are two main families of cytoskeletally associated molecular motors. One is dyneins and the second one is kinesins. One is dyneins, second one is kinesins. One of the function of cytoskeleton is to move cellular components from one part of the cell to another. Sorry. So, the main function of cytoskeleton is to move the cellular component from one part to another part of the cell. These cellular components which are moving, called as cargo, and are often stored within a vesicle for transport. We can think that cytoskeleton as a railroad track on which those vesicles move. So this cytoskeleton provide a support and directionality inside the cell. Of course, if there are railroad track or railway track, simply railway track, there needs to be an engine that can both move on the track and pull or push the cargo along. So the cytoskeletons are railway track. The vesicles inside which the cellular components are packed, they move along this direction. So it requires one engine to push or pull it. So that role of engine is added by, or that role is performed by those molecular motors. So molecular motors, in this case the engine are molecular motors that can move along the track in a specific direction. There are two families of molecular motors associated with the cytoskeleton. One is dyneins, second one is kinesins. These motor proteins or train engines and the cytoskeleton create a comprehensive network within the cell for moving vesicle or boxcar from one organelle to the other, from one organelle to the cell surface, or where to move it will help. to move that vesicle in any direction. So this diagram showing the organelle transport via microtubule and kinesin and dynein. So these are kinesin and these are your dynein. So along with microtubule, they help to in the transportation. Okay. So dynein is a protein complex that functions as molecular motor in the cell. It converts the chemical energy from ATP hydrolysis. So it acquires energy from ATP hydrolysis into the mechanical energy. It converts the chemical energy to mechanical energy of movement to walk along the microtubule while carrying a vesicle. Dynein bind to microtubule and move or walk from plus end of cytoskeletal microtubule filament to minus end of the filament, which is usually oriented towards cell center. So microtubule and microfilament, microtubule as well as microfilament both have plus and minus end. So these dyneins move from plus to minus end. Thus they are often referred to as minus end directed motors, and this vesicular transport is referred to as retrograde transport. Retrograde transport. So this is microtubule. Suppose this is microtubule railway track. The vesicle is to move in this direction from plus end to minus end, and cytoplasmic dynein will help in this movement. So it is retrograde transport from plus end to minus end transport, and minus end directed motors. This dynein is called as minus end directed motors because it helps in the movement of something from plus end to minus end. Okay, next. Cytoplasmic dynein moves along the microtubule, hydrolyzing ATP. With each step it takes along the microtubule. During this process, one or other of its stalks is always attached to microtubule, allowing for dynein motor and its cargo to walk a considerable distance along microtubule without detaching. Okay. So this is the schematic representation of cytoplasmic dynein motor protein. So dyneins are protein complexes composed of many smaller polypeptide units. The overall structure of dynein motors are relatively simple, consisting of two identical complexes, each with a motor domain and that interact with microtubule. So this end will interact with the microtubule, then a stalk or stem region that connects the motor head to cargo interacting domain. So this end will interact with the cargo or the vesicle or any cell organelle packaged box. Okay, next. Cytoplasmic dyneins are used in many different processes. They are involved in organelle movement such as positioning of Golgi complex or other organelles in the cell. They are used in the transport of cargo such as movement of vesicle made by endoplasmic reticulum, endosome and lysosome. They are responsible for movement of chromosomes during cell division. Axonemal dynein are motor proteins used in the sliding of microtubule in axonemes of cilia and flagella in eukaryotic cell. So they help in organelle movement during the movement of cilia and flagella. So these are many functions. Next, kinesins. Kinesins, like cytoplasmic dyneins, are motor protein complexes that work along the microtubule and are involved in vesicle transport. Unlike cytoplasmic dyneins, the polarity of kinesins movement is from minus end to plus end. So dynein move along plus end to minus end, but these kinesin move from minus end to plus end with the help of the energy from the hydrolysis of ATP, like dynein. In most of the cell, this entails a transporting cargo from center of the cell towards periphery. That means the opposite direction of dyneins. This form of transport is known as anterograde or orthograde transport. Like cytoplasmic dynein, kinesins are involved in a variety of cellular processes including vesicle movement, chromosome movement during cell division. Members of kinesin superfamily vary in shape, but overall structure is that of a heterotetramer whose motor subunits or heavy chains form a protein dimer that bind to two light chain. So they have heavy chain and two light chain. Okay, so overally it is a heterotetramer like this. This is the structure of kinesin motor protein. The heavy chain comprise a globular head or motor domain at the amino terminal end connected via short flexible neck linker to the stalk, a long central alpha helical coil domain that ends in a carboxy terminal tail domain which associates with light chain. The stalks of two light chains intertwined with each other to form a coiled coil that directs dimerization of two heavy chains. Okay, two heavy chains. Dimerization of two heavy chains. In most cases, transported cargo binds with kinesin light chains. Light chains, but in some cases cargo binds with C-terminal domains of the heavy chains. Okay, so it will vary with the situation. Okay, how do the motors interact with cargo and the microtubule? So cytoplasmic dyneins and kinesin interact with both cargo and microtubule in similar fashion. The light chain interact with the receptor on the various cargo vesicle, and the globular motor domain specifically interact with the microtubule. So the light chain interact with the cargo and globular motor domain interact with the microtubule, and in this way they work together with microtubule and helps them to carry any kind of vesicle inside the cell. So these are motor proteins, or we can tell them engines. They carry out different functions to get along with the microtubules or microfilaments. They perform to various important functions. They help to carry any kind of vesicles along the cells or inside the cells. So it is all about molecular motors. I hope, or molecular motors or motor proteins. I hope you really enjoyed this session, and please hit the like button and share with your other friends, and please subscribe to my channel Sunanda's Tutorial. Thank you.